Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. It's our first in-season off day. He's trying hard with that face. He is.
It's just such a funny face.
Anyway, it's our first in-season off day. Avs are coming off their 5-2 win to start the season against LA. A couple of things I wanted to get into here. I wanted to start with this. Do you think it's a good thing that the Avs started the season against a better team?
Yeah.
Because we saw last year they started against Chicago, not a very good team. They easily won that game. And look, I get it. It was a back-to-back. There were other factors going into that Calgary game.
Getting into Calgary at 4 o'clock in the morning after an 8:30 start.
But does it help set the tone a little bit going against a team that, kind of is expected to be a playoff team this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said last night, I think it's a bit of a measuring stick because the Kings are very well thought of. When people look at the Kings roster, they go, the problem is in goal, not with the skaters. And the Avalanche handled the skater part of it fine.
Quite well, yeah.
Yeah, they were. It was a good game.
Yeah.
It's not like the Avs completely dominated. The Kings had their moments, but we talked about it last night, especially when you consider the way that the Kings got those goals. Like, it could have been a 6-0 game if one or two things happen a little differently.
The way you're getting beat is a triple bad bouncer. You'll live with that.
Yeah, definitely. I do really think that yes, it helps that. I think it just gets that confidence going, right? That hey, we really kind of handled these guys.
It's a great question because I was driving in yesterday, and it's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, man, this is for real today. It's not a preseason game like the ones before, and it's the LA Kings, and we did the season previews, right?
Yep.
And I'm not afraid to say it. I was really high, and I still am high on the Kings, and I'm like, okay, it's a good test tonight. See how the big boys react, see how goaltending reacts, and of course we saw the big boys react. We saw everything kind of fell into place, and it was a big win. It was fun, but you're right. It was a little nerve-wracking, because it was for real, and it was against a solid opponent. So, great start.
So I guess my question is, as the Avs do start the season on a 3-game road trip, does this game help them at all going forward? They get an easier opponent in San Jose in a couple of days. Then they, get the round 1 rematch after that in Seattle. Can you really take anything from this if you're Colorado, especially having 2 days off after the game? Is this a, hey, we come into Saturday night feeling good about ourselves, or is it a total reset?
No, I think they it's a confidence builder.
Okay.
Because preseason, who cared? Even Jared Bednar last night was like, well, that Vegas game. Like, he was like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he very diplomatically said, our guys cared a lot more tonight than they did in that Vegas game. And because of that, and you can see what's the difference. That Colorado tightened the screws in the third period last night and locked it down. And I think that's a very good confidence builder for them to do that to a good team on the road on opening night. And Eric, I know you'll know this obviously much better than the two of us, but road trips are team builders. They're chemistry builders early in the season.
Huge, and especially the way it's set up, right? Like you said, a day off today and then another day. I don't know if they practice today, but practice tomorrow and then play Saturday, and it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference for the new guys because they get to know the guys that they're not teammates with. But it's also for the older guys, too, to get to know those new guys. It goes hand in hand, and it's kind of fun to get away. And, again, we all love our wives, kids, and all that stuff, but it's nice to get away. And then you get, AJ or Rudo's full attention, and you get on the bus, and you get to practice together, and you have a little chat on the bus, on the 10-minute bus ride, you get to know about his kids and, about all that kind of stuff. So it is huge, especially early in the season. And like you said, Bednar, about the last exhibition, preseason game. It is. And the difference is you're not downplaying the Malinskis of the world, but you're saying the right personnel is put into place yesterday because it's a real game.
Yeah.
Right. So you're putting the real players in the test. And
I mean, I'll tell you the difference, and you said this on the postgame show. It was the top guys.
Yeah.
Look at that third period.
Yeah.
The fourth goal that the Avs score. In the preseason, Nathan MacKinnon looks at that puck going deep into the corner and says, "You know what? I think I'm going to change."
Yeah, he just hops off.
In that game,
Or he like willingly loses that battle
Right.
because he's just like, we're just gonna go for like a Sunday skate into the corner.
I got my reps. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm fine,
exactly. The completely different mentality.
And even look at that fifth goal, the empty netter.
Oh yeah,
Right? I mean,
pure effort.
I mean, awesome. All the way from all the way in their own end to Colton diving to I don't care. I mean, Miles Wood. I've seen guys miss that one. I don't care. It's an empty netter. I've seen guys, but everything fell into place. You know what I mean? And it was a big win. So that's fun, and it's exciting that they're on that road trip right now and they're all together. So I think it sets the tone for the season right.
I do really wish that the schedule was flipped a little. I wish it was Seattle on Saturday
ended on the easy team
and San Jose on Tuesday, but. Because I do think with San Jose, like, look, you look at that roster, and Nathan MacKinnon's like, I've never even heard of
half of this
15
lineup.
of these guys.
Yeah.
He will be big, like, who are you energy. And, like, the Sharks defense might be one of the worst defenses I can recall in the last handful of years.
Yeah.
Awful. It's awful. And their goaltending is bad, and their forward core with no Logan Couture is not going to.
It's a tough one.
Do a whole lot of anything.
Yeah. Tomas Hertl is just the Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince in the empty house, just looking around going, what the So, yeah, like he's got nothing. Like that's just an organization in flux right now. And, they're rebuilding and tearing it down, all that. That the potential is there for that letdown, but because of the win last night, like, Had LA won that game last night in any fashion whatsoever, I think San Jose would get its doors blown off on Saturday.
Yeah,
The Avs
blowout
would have
level
been
game.
Yeah, and instead, I think that there's a chance that the Avs blow those doors off anyway because they're so much better than San Jose. But I do think that that confidence is going to be riding high. They're feeling good about themselves, and we've talked about the slow starts in the last couple of years have meant that they had to play 800 hockey for long stretches in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
You play 800 hockey out the gate,
And you can
when
cruise a little
injuries
bit later
happen.
on. Yeah.
When the regular season stuff starts to crop up, you won't have to say, Cale Makar, I need you to go play 29 minutes tonight. You can be like, hey, we're still going to keep you at 25. And if that means that we maybe drop one of these games in January, it doesn't hurt us as badly because we're already well in position here to make a run for the division. Because remember last year, they were outside the playoffs. Halfway through January, they were outside of the postseason picture.
Yeah, they won the division, but
And exactly, but they were in that position where they had to be exceptional down the stretch because they had and there were, we've talked about this, there were so many factors. A good start though to this season last night is like the perfect foundational building block. You beat a good team that was amped up on home ice. You're a measuring stick team as the Avalanche.
Yep.
Like everybody's going to give them
How
their
much
best
more
shot
can you
still.
do in that situation?
Yeah, and they handled business.
Yeah.
They handle it.
And I touch up on three things all the time, and you're gonna hear me all year. Like, for me, the way you're built, like the Avalanche, right? They have some illegal players. For me, Rantanen, McKinnon, Makar, it should be illegal. You shouldn't be able to have that on your team.
Let
It
alone
shouldn't.
all three of
That's
them.
my point.
Yeah.
So the way I look at it, this is part one. Part two is always special teams. So look at yesterday. Like PK was outstanding in the first period, right? And then they get that power play goal. So, and then I look at goaltending, because the way they're built, the Avs, if those three are on all cylinders, I don't know when you can lose games. You know what I mean? Like I can't see it. So yesterday, I think they hit on all three. And they're major ones. But like I said, when you're built the way they're built, they're not built like you said, like San Jose, or they're built like the Avalanche, which is those players that are completely out of this world. And
They're going to
when
do special stuff,
that's
and they're
it.
going to cram the puck down your throat
That's
for
it.
60 minutes.
That's it.
And when it works, you just let it ride, I guess.
That's it.
But
Yeah. I want to ask you guys this just because we're kind of talking about this, but I know we still have another show tomorrow and then Saturday, whatever. But if Cogliano's healthy, obviously you put him in. But otherwise,
for sure.
You don't make any lineup changes, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't even swap lines around or anything. Yeah, no, you're just going.
I agree with Rudo. Yeah,
okay.
I don't touch anything.
I agree. I just,
We talked about this off air at least last night. Like at very least 5 games before you're seriously considering anything.
The only reason, and this is maybe disrespectful to San Jose, but it's because it's San Jose. I'm like, hey, this is a live opportunity to maybe get a different look where Mikko Rantanen and Artturi Lehkonen swap spots.
I think it's fair. You don't necessarily want to swap their spots, but you would like to see that second line produce a little bit of offense against San Jose.
Yeah, well, of course.
You would like to see that third line maybe get one at 5-on-5 against San Jose.
Totally.
And you know how much I respect both of your opinions, which I do, right? I mean, I've said it off the air, I say it on the air.
You don't respect this.
Yeah, no, but I respect. I'm going to use a comment, and you guys, I don't remember if it was you or
It's probably
AJ.
him.
No, maybe you.
I talk
Like
a lot, man.
I've never looked at it this way, but I'm looking. I want to look at it that way now, which is one of you guys said Nichushkin and Lehkonen are so similar that sometimes it might not work. And I've never thought about it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying like it wasn't sarcasm, it wasn't a jab, it wasn't like. But I'm saying I want to look at that now. Like I didn't really pay attention yesterday. Mm-hmm. Because I'm looking at so many different things, right? Because it's the Wood and Colton, the new guys.
You have 6 new guys in that lineup last night.
And I didn't really look at that thing, but I'm curious now. I want to start looking at that a little deeper into it.
I think the question is who's going to drive the bus there.
Yeah.
When Nichushkin is at his absolute best, he can do that.
Yeah.
Totally.
But how often is he really hitting that level of peak?
And so you mentioned this. What is the best shift that second line has last night? It is in the third period when Nichushkin gets in on a forecheck, breaks up a puck.
Does the digging,
Gets that puck. He steals the puck. He puts it out high. Lehkonen takes a slap shot, which was weird. It was weird to watch.
I remember that.
Made everybody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it got on net or it got blocked, and then they worked the puck back to Johansson out high, and he just put a quick one-timer on net that Talbot made a good kick save on. But like the best shift from that line last night was when Nichushkin
was driving. Yeah,
because if he's going to be, he truly has to be the best player on that line.
Yep.
What he does well is kind of the fire starter there, right? Like it's he lights that fuse, and so when Lehkonen is at his best, he's kind of the same way. That's why I say that I think they're too samey at times, and that if you kind of mix it a little bit, like. The hard part here is that Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen are world-class players with who just have like a special chemistry.
Yep.
And
you really don't want to break them
right,
up.
like like Korea Solani kind of thing where you're like, these guys are better together. They're obviously incredible apart, but your lineup in terms of trying to defend against it might be better served having Rantanen next to Johansson, and then either one of Lehkonen or Nichushkin. I don't have any opinion whatsoever on
they're both great.
Which guy you move up to that top line? I default to Lehkonen because I know how much MacKinnon loves playing with him.
Yeah.
But Nichushkin, with his speed and his size and his fortune and all the things that he does, like, that guy's not also a monster next to Nathan MacKinnon? Like, come on.
Really quickly, chat. I don't care who plays 3 minutes a night. You could put any player in that situation. It just doesn't matter to me.
You have to do something pretty egregious to hurt a team in 3 minutes. We're talking 57 minutes of hockey got played last night that did not involve Curtis McDermott. We don't need to talk about it.
Yep.
Truly, like, we talk about it. We talked about it a lot in the preseason because roster battles, that's what we get into. But, in the same way that this podcast has always been with those fourth line guys, we'll talk about them, but when they play so little...
Yeah. Any Tufty, Cogliano, Ben Myers, John-Luc Foudy, name your favorite player. Anyone can play 3 minutes a night and be generally fine. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that guy's not going to move the needle in either direction.
Yep.
Can I use something? Like I'm going to give you a story about my dad there. back then in the heyday of the Avalanche, with the Sakic and Forsbergs and everything.
Golden Era 1.0.
Yeah, exactly. You know, very, very similar built to this team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is very similar. Except they didn't have Cale Makar, but you know, he's in a class of his own. You know?
Yeah.
I remember him having meetings, and that's when I was retired, now working with the Avs.
Yeah.
And coaches are coaches. Coaches will sometimes nitpick, and you know,
Sure.
kind of like guys on the chat or ourselves, and then you lose focus a little bit sometimes of what's really, everything is important, but what's really important. So if you're going 3-4 games where, you know, MacKinnon doesn't have a point, Rantanen doesn't have a point, you know, all of a sudden, like, it's a complete chaos. The power play is 0 for 9 in 2 games.
Yeah, that's way more impactful.
That's my point. So he used to always say the dotted lines. Always remember the dotted lines, and you would put dotted lines below the first and second line, and then below the third and fourth D, and say, guys, we can talk all we want about the guys below the dotted lines, but if the guys above the dotted lines are not going, we'll never win, because that's how we're built.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. It just kind of lit a light bulb there when you guys just said that. Like, hey, guys, who cares about the 3? I'm not saying that they didn't care or he didn't care about my God, he cared about those guys. I mean, and just like Bednar and CMAC and Sakic care about those guys. But at the end of the day, you're going to help the guys above the dotted line, but the guys at the top of the dotted line, they make you win.
Yeah.
The other guys help you win. You know?
And look, if you don't think Jared Bednar wouldn't have Riley Tufte in that same range of minutes, then I don't think you know Jared Bednar very
Seriously,
well.
especially last night when they were trying to protect that
Right.
1-goal lead, and Curtis McDermott does not play until it gets to 5-2, and then it was like, go get him, big guy, you know, like unleash the curtain.
As it should be, right?
Yeah, of course, because like that's how it is. You shorten that bench in those games, and that does not change if it's Ben Myers. That does not
Right.
change if it's Riley Tufte.
Exactly.
That usage, maybe instead of 2 minutes and 12 seconds through 2
4
periods,
minutes.
it's 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But like, especially with how much special teams play happened last night.
Yep.
A game like that was like, this is like.
Well, if that
I
game's
don't-
still
we've already-
3-0 going into the third period, it's probably a different conversation.
Totally.
But you're going to play your best players
maybe
in
the
a close
first like
game.
10 minutes. You're still
you
3
lock
lines.
it down, but then yeah, exactly.
Like that's
So-
how and like just for the record, Curtis McDermott was not on the ice for a shot attempt against last night.
Played perfectly well in his 3
In those
minutes.
3 minutes, and he tried to eat Pierre-Luc Dubois when Dubois tried to knee Freddie Olofsson. You know, it's fine, man. Like I like when the chat immediately switched this conversation into Josh Manson and Jack
The
Johnson,
bottom pairing,
and that
yeah.
is a way bigger conversation.
Much
to me.
bigger, agree.
This is a way more valid concern about 3 out of 60 minutes is the axe that you choose to grind here.
I do want to get into that bottom pairing conversation, but before we do, we are brought to you by Snarfs. You can get out to Snarfs.
good.
Get whatever you want. They've got all sorts of amazing sandwiches. Eric brought me the roast beef the other day. Absolutely delicious.
I actually don't remember what I got the other day.
Yeah, I don't remember what you got either. I don't know. I know mine was good. I ate the whole thing.
Yeah,
in like
so did
2
I.
minutes,
It's delicious,
so.
man.
You got to go check them out. They have the best quality ingredients that you can find. Jimmy Seidel, Snarf himself, personally chooses each item every single day to make sure they get the best quality. Their bread that they bake themselves, I could probably just eat their bread without a sandwich, to be honest with you. So you gotta go check it out. We also have their jardinera peppers. You can see them there on the table. You can order those in just a jar and bring them home, and then you get a little bit of Snarfs on every sandwich every day. So go give them a try. If you haven't been to Snarfs, you really do have to try them out. They have amazing sandwiches. Or if burgers are more your thing, they also have a couple of locations that are Snarf burgers, so you can get burgers too. And if you want to get discounts, you can download the Snarf app today, create an account, go to the coupon section, and enter the DNVR fans code to get a 7-inch sub. Buy one, get one free. Check them out today. Go get yourself some Snarfs. Absolutely delicious stuff.
Look, man, I just really love sandwiches.
I love it.
It's like my preferred food vehicle. like over like, like pasta or sushi or what. I love sandwiches, and Snarf's has been my favorite in Denver for a long time.
You only love sandwiches because you can deconstruct sandwiches.
I mean, you can deconstruct just about anything if you work
I don't
hard
think
enough.
you can deconstruct pasta.
You take them apart, take the ingredients apart, brother. What do you mean? I do it on a regular basis.
God.
I love it.
This guy, no imagination,
Dude's
I tell
gonna
you.
be straining soup next time I see him.
Oh, gross. I don't like soup. You know why I don't like soup?
Because you can't deconstruct.
Because you can't deconstruct it. You can't put it back into a tomato.
That's true. You can't
we
do that.
go.
Yeah, you can't unsqueeze the tomato.
Help yourselves with the Snarfs.
That is okay. I will pass.
Also brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Inside line for you. It's Thursday night football. Bet the under.
Oh, I'm not betting the under with Patrick Mahomes against the Denver Broncos defense. I'm
That's
betting.
fair.
I'm closer to betting the over just
No.
for the Chiefs.
On a Thursday night game, though?
I don't. It does not
Especially
matter.
with T. Sweezy in the house, absolutely
That
take the over.
game's
Have
tonight.
you guys what? The Chiefs
does
have
not
not
matter.
been that good the last
does
couple
not.
weeks.
The Broncos
It
have
is the
been that
Broncos
bad,
defense.
though.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Is that tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've been up like 36 hours.
Yeah.
That's why I lost. It's
I'm so
Thursday.
glad it's tonight because I'm gonna do something else.
It's going to be Eric's nap time for sure.
And if
try-
they
I'll
win the
try to
game,
stay
I'll go
awake.
back and watch it later. But
I did
do not care.
I did like super producer Kale's tweet of like there is preseason nuggets and Thursday
Yeah.
night football. I
Yeah.
know which one I will be watching.
yeah, neither. I will be watching whatever
Neither for
NHL
me
game
either,
appeals
yes.
to me.
I
the
will
Hockey,
be
for sure.
breaking down Ross Colton footage during that.
You will, and this is the other thing is there will be. I'm writing a column and a film room, so
Yeah.
I will probably be working most of this evening.
God, I love his game.
Either way, if you want to bet on the NFL, you can go over to DraftKings Sportsbook, sign up for a new account with the DNVR code, bet $5 on any game this week to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Look, it's a great deal, and they're even making it better. All customers can take advantage of this offer every game day in October. So jump on it. You got plenty of options, even if you don't want to bet on the Chiefs versus Broncos. Come weekend time, bet on whatever game you want. You're good to go.
I bet on one NFL game every weekend.
Just one?
Yeah,
Singular?
Well, at minimum of like roll the dice. Throw $5 on a 4-leg parlay and whatever.
Maybe you get lucky, yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I've gotten 5 of them wrong, but when one of them hits, it pays for all of them.
Pays
and
for like 20 of them, yeah.
that's how you continue to do those things. So
Either way, do it over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Get those $200 in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL when you sign up with the DNVR code. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Inc., Resort, Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, LA. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire on 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Woo!
Done.
Where's the smelling salts?
I was going to say, I needed the smelling salts just to stay awake through that.
Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Looking into that Manson-Johnson pairing. It wasn't good.
You know what was funny? I went and looked. Now, it's obviously small samples because they primarily played together. But when they were apart, they were both fine.
Yeah. And I don't even think them together as a whole was like heinous, other than you both can't fall down on the same
goal,
play.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's what's funny is like there's that, and that's not the shift that stands out to me the most from last night. It was one of the third period PKs
Sure.
where
Just clears aren't a thing.
it was like they were both in 5-alarm fire panic mode for like 30 straight seconds, just chicken with a head cut off, just what? And you're like Miles Wood is bailing them out, and
Yeah.
it's like, what the hell is happening here? Miles Wood doesn't know what's going on either. He's still learning all this stuff on the fly. And somehow it worked. Georgiev is why it worked.
So-
but that's the stuff where you're like, look, 6 defensemen last night played in the game for the Avalanche. 6 defensemen had at least a minute on the PK. Jared Bednar is giving
And that's I want to get into
other
this.
guys every opportunity to take that job from those two.
Yep.
And if Jack Johnson is not going to be a PK mainstay, and I single out Jack Johnson in particular here because he's by far the more limited of the two.
Yep.
But if Jack Johnson is not going to be a main PK guy for you and he loses that job to Sam Girard, he can't be in your lineup anymore. He can't be in your lineup. And I said I'm not changing the lineup going into game 2. I might be changing that lineup in game 3 when Caleb Jones gets here. If Caleb Jones gets here.
So here's the.
My bad.
I want to have the conversation about that PK because, like you said, Bednar essentially rolled all 60 men.
Mm-hmm.
One, going forward, do you look to cut that down? And 2, if you look to cut that down, are you just keeping your pairings together, or are you saying, hey, I want to try Josh Manson with Bowen Byram on the penalty kill? I want to try Jack Johnson next to Sam Girard on the penalty kill. We saw last year, especially early in the year, it was ugly, but they were trying a lot of Josh Manson and Eric Johnson together.
Which they had to do. Like, they had to try.
But are they looking to mix up those pairings on the PK a little bit to find something that works a little bit better for those depth defensemen? Or will they just roll their 2 top pairings?
I would mix and match.
Okay.
I like when they do. And here's what I'll say on Manson. Like, he's a big body. This is not Cale Makar. It's not natural. Like, Cale can take training camp off, play 1 game, and, look like Cale out there. As a bigger guy, Manson, it's tough. Your timing's off. You got to remember since last January. I mean, when was it? January that he went down, or give and take? Was that earlier?
It was
I know he
something
came back, but then went back down again. So you're talking about not a lot of games that he's played. You know what I mean?
He was so compromised in the games.
And then what does that mean for his summer? His summer's compromised a little bit with your workouts, right? Because you're rehabbing. It's such a big difference. And this is a guy that keeps himself in great physical condition and has to play a physical game. But it does take a little time. So your timing's off. Your timing on the PK's off, and it looks a little bit sloppy like last night, right? You know what I mean? Which is normal. What did he do? One preseason game, right?
He played 17 minutes.
Which I'm like, okay, God, I wish I would have seen him more, but they know what they're doing. They decided they just didn't want him to play the last 2 preseason games, and then you get into an opener like this. I mean, there's some good players out there. They're on the power play, especially. You got Doughty, you got Kopitar, you got some world class players.
Adrian Kempe had a 40-goal season last
40
year.
goals last year. Forget about him because I was so wrong on him all those years.
Me too.
But
it was a
I
slow
can
burn
admit
for
my
him.
mistakes, and then. I think with Josh, it's a little bit of timing. Obviously, he has to be one of those main guys on the PK. That's what makes him a force. And, for me, the positive today is it's not even to look at his game because, it was a tough game, but is if he feels right. You know what I mean? Like to go and, maybe you'd have a day off to go to practice tomorrow and then be ready Wednesday and then get in the groove and get accustomed to see the Josh Manson that we've been accustomed to since that big playoff run. And for Jack, I think you're right. You know what I mean? It can be a little tricky at times, but you have to make sure that when you sit with the coaches and he's sat with the coaches and, and Prater and those guys, and is your defined role. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you're going to do this year.
Yeah.
You might miss 20 games because, you're getting older but you're going to be a mainstay on the PA. So we want you to be good at this. Please make sure you're good at that. And, and maybe like you said yesterday, maybe it was a failed mission, you know what I mean? A little bit. But when you got experience like that, and he has a bigger body, it's not an excuse. It just takes a couple games to get. But you're right. That's an area of concern for sure because everything else is so flawless right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we're talking about, Chad is still upset about Curtis McDermott's 3 minutes. Yeah. We're talking about like your third pairing here, which
on a PK that went 5 for 5 last night. By the way,
a third pairing that at 5v5 I believe only played about 7 minutes together.
Yeah,
gave up one of their 2 goals.
Still managed to give up a goal in those 7 minutes. So it is an issue here. But
they both slept, right?
Well, so Josh Manson falls down and Jack Johnson gets rocked and makes a bad play. Going back and watching, because on live I was like, Josh Manson falls. He's trying to get the puck there. On replay, when I went back, I really don't like the decision from Jack Johnson.
He had the whole other side of the ice.
Well,
and there was no one over there.
My number one problem with the decision that he makes is that there is no... Josh Manson is it.
Yep.
He is the only Avalanche support that he has there.
Yep.
And even if Josh Manson gets that puck as intended, it is a 2-on-3 situation.
Yep.
They do not have the advantage, even though they have the puck there. Josh Manson's probably going to ice the puck, turn it over, or lose a classic board battle there.
I will say someone does need to be communicating with Johnson there and letting him know where the open ice is.
He looks back.
I know, but he sees Grundstrom because Grundstrom has like cut out.
And he's on him.
Yeah. So I don't think he really saw anything past Grundstrom. Like he shoulder checks.
And
he
sees Manson.
Yeah.
And Phil Deneau is at center ice or whatever when he makes that decision, and that's the guy who makes the big play there. But you don't see my problem here is you don't see an Av sweater anywhere. He has no help there, and instead of
putting it to safety, he puts it into the teeth of these guys. Yeah.
Well, and then gets rocked.
Yep.
Yeah, and you got to remember Grundstrom there. He erases his own mistake, right? Which was a few minutes before when, as a fourth liner, commits an infraction on Jack Johnson, a bottom, pairing of the Avs, and the Avs get that big power play goal there.
Yeah.
So that's on him as a player. That's on you, and that's the one thing. We're not Kings fans, we're Avs fans, but. You raise your hat to Grundstrom there to say, you know what, he erased his mistake.
It's a good play.
That was awesome.
It's a good play.
But
Awesome.
Jack Johnson can't get beat to his net front.
No. That doesn't make that. Yeah.
Gets hit behind the play and falls over.
I mean, the way that it worked out because Josh Manson falls down, it couldn't have been easier for the Kings.
Right, you're not
exactly.
wrong.
It ended up being
the play just fell apart immediately.
Like you want to see like how the Avs score goals last night. Like the Kings at some point just outside of the third goal, the Mikko Rantanen
pick corner.
where he goes over town. Like there are things, if I'm looking at this through a Kings lens, those are the things, that's the goal that I'm looking at saying, okay, we've got three different
Mikey
things.
Anderson, what are you doing?
Well, I'm going to do a film room on this later. I know what Mikey Anderson's doing.
He's playing goaltender.
No, because Jonathan Duran actually makes a really smart play to pull his attention, and they don't know what to do in that situation.
You're correct that they didn't know what to do.
And
sure.
Mikey Anderson got put on an island and didn't have anywhere to go. And because if you go back and you rewatch where Jonathan Duran is in this, you'll see that and keep in mind in real time this whole thing happens in a matter of under 2 seconds, and so it's like it's a really hard. And these are
I'm not saying it's easy.
breakdowns,
It's just one of my pet peeves that if you're 1 foot in front of your crease, let the goalie make the save.
Yeah, well, and like how Anderson ends up defending it is bad.
Yeah,
the way he goes down and is just like.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, that is bad, but it ends up being like my point here.
You'll break it down later.
Yeah, my point here is that the Kings are looking at how those I would say 3 of those 4 goals got scored.
Like, we didn't make that many mistakes.
Well, and you're like, dude, that like the power play goal. Yeah, okay, they gave Mikko Rantanen a free entry, but then after that, you just got beat by world class play.
Yep.
That one touch backhand pass by MacKinnon is outrageous. It's so good.
Yep.
Or that Mikko passed to McKinnon on the first goal. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, you can't defend that.
Give me a break with this stuff. That is world class hockey. And that's the difference where you look at both Colorado goals against, and you're looking at the Avs, and you're going,
yeah,
you guys are making that too easy. You handed these to them instead of them earning them, instead of making them earn it, and. That's a really, really big reason for me why I come out of this. Why, after having slept on it for a grand total of like 3 hours, that I feel way better about the game today
than you did
having
last
rewatched
night.
it and gone through it all again. Because that's a good team. That's a good Kings team. I thought played a pretty good game. The Avs special talent just
shown through.
It just that is the cream rises, right? And
Always.
That was where. I wrote it in my piece last night. Colorado's best players are just the 3 of them. Makar, MacKinnon, and Rantanen. Gives them the single greatest talent advantage walking into any game against any opponent in the entire NHL.
Agree.
Those 3 guys put them at the front of the line walking into a game.
Yep.
The two guys in Edmonton are great. They do not have a third horseman.
Yep.
There's a big difference.
Does not exist. There's just isn't. Zach Hyman, RNHL's guy, whatever.
They also had goaltenders that gave up 8 goals last night.
Yeah, obviously that was a tough night for the goalies. I thought that it was very funny. They both finished with a 750 save percentage. And it was just like, nah, this is very Edmonton.
Yep.
But like those three guys, the single greatest talent advantage in the NHL, walking into any one game. Those three guys put the Avs in favorite territory against every team. Now, when you go beyond those three, we'll see. The Avs are pretty damn good though, and Devon Taves, pretty special guy in his own right. Alexander Georgiev, it's only the one game to start
Looks
this year,
pretty darn
but
good.
if he's gonna look like that more nights than not, dude, oh my goodness,
Tough team to beat.
My goodness.
On that note, if you want to watch some fun Avs hockey, we do have a bunch of takeovers of Ball Arena coming this season. One of the many perks of becoming a DNVR diehard is you get first crack at things like takeover tickets. Also, we do tons of other events. You can come down here at the bar for Avs games. At least for the start of the season, we're doing shots for every goal. So
Yay.
You got to get down here. You got to have a good time. Look, that San Jose game on Saturday night, first of all, it's Saturday, and the Avs might score a lot of goals in that game. So
I hope so.
it's a great time to get down here. If you become a diehard, of course, you get access to all our content on the site, but you also get 15% off at the bar. You get 15% off our merch. You get a bunch of other discounts and rewards, too, including a free shirt with your membership. So tons of perks, tons of content coming your way. We were just talking about it. AJ's working on film rooms. I've got some videos planned. Lots of stuff coming your
We
way.
had 3 pieces of content that came out within, 30 minutes of each other
Yeah,
last night
at
at like
3
3 in the morning.
Lots of stuff. I know Eric's got some stuff planned too. It's gonna be a avalanche of content, as it were. So it's a great time to become a diehard.
It's a great pun, but it also always applies.
It does. We put in the work, yo. Go check it out. Sign up to be a diehard today over at thednvr.com. And you know it excuse me.
No smelling salts this time.
It helps support us. I can't ask for support without choking up.
Damn, we already talking about the trade deadline after one game.
Oh, God.
You guys are amped.
You're ready. You're ready for the season. We're also brought to you by Bacchus and Schenker. If someone was thinking about the deadline on your way into work and crashed into you instead of paying attention while driving, call 222-2222 today. Bacchus and Schenker, they've done this for over 25 years. They've won over $1 billion for their clients. They're very, very, very good at what they do. You can go to coloradolaw.net or call the 2 number to get a free consultation from them. And if they think you have a case, you pay nothing up front. They will take it on for free initially. You do not pay them until you win your case. So they only get paid if you get paid. That's how it works. And they will get you paid. So hit them up, 2 number, coloradolaw.net. Get what you deserve with Bacchus and Schenker. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Eric, is it hard to find a rhythm when you start a season like this with Colorado, where it's 2 days off, then a game, then another 2 days off, then a game, then 1 day off, then 2 days off? Then it feels like it's hard to get into that. It doesn't feel like you're really in the swing of the season.
No, you're right. If you look at it on paper, it is not in a rhythm, you know.
Yep.
But if you're a coach, I can tell you Bednar probably loves it because training camp is different. There's so many guys here. There's so many extra bodies. You don't really get to have your group together and get some good practice time. They want to get off to a good start. I mean, they all know that. Every team will tell you that. Every team wants to. But obviously, the Avalanche want to get to. They want to make this a special season. You can feel it. You felt it in the area, so you feel it from the MacKinnons of the world. Same with the coaching staff. They want to be all business, and with this road trip, it's perfect. It's perfect because they got the whole attention of the group. They got everybody's attention. And when you're on the road like this, you can have some plans of some practices here coming up and, you know, touch up a little bit on last night, then, prepare for the next one. And then after the next one, you still have another 2 days to touch up on a couple things, whether it's your neutral zone forecheck, whether it's your forecheck, whether it's your special teams. It's a perfect way to do it. And yes, as fans, like we're all anxious, and you're like, "Oh man, we want another." That was so fun last night, right? You want an extra game like that tonight. Instead, we're gonna watch football. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, but you know what I mean. Like,
well, let me ask you this: when you have those extra days,
yeah.
how much more preparation is done against the team you're playing next specifically?
I would say nothing against the San Jose Sharks, but you're bang on. It's a great question because you want to work. You want to make sure you're rolling on all cylinders on your special teams. You want to make sure that all the new guys are rolling in on the neutral zone aspects of the game, and you want to make sure that everybody's got any questions. It's a perfect time because when practice is over, you're not rushing. You're not you're home. You got a life. You got stuff to do. You got to pick up the kids at school. It is what it is. But on the road, there's nothing to do. Nothing wrong with sitting down with the coaches and whether it's PK and Prater deals with the PK, right? So all right, let's have a little chat right here. Let's order some food and let's have a chat, or even when we get back to the hotel. So it's a different atmosphere. But I like the way that, you go on the road and you got 3 and 4, like there's nothing that what I'm talking about makes sense because you don't have time.
You're just busy. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's a great combo for them to get time together, to get time to work on different things, not necessarily on the next opponent or the Seattle Kraken or, but on things that they really want to crack down and make sure they master, all aspects of the game.
So more of a general fix the things that are broken focus hey, this opponent does this thing.
Yeah.
Fair
We
enough.
still get that on morning skate,
No,
right?
right.
Yeah, exactly.
I
They get that.
understand.
Yeah, they get that breakdown. But I think when you're the Avalanche, it's so like let the teams, not because you said that, but I'm saying let the teams worry about us. Let's not worry about them, right?
Yeah.
You know what
The
I mean?
Avs are more often than not the
Man.
team that decides how
Are
the
they
game's
fun
going
to
go.
watch?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
let them worry about us. But let's know what they're doing. Obviously, let's know their tendencies. And those guys nowadays are so well prepared. Those coaches do an unbelievable job. Brett in the video room and the pre-scouts are. I mean, you got everything at your fingertips now, and they got everything. There's nothing you can go in there saying, "Well, I did not know." You know what I mean? Like from shootout moves to special teams to everything. So the guys are well dialed. But again, on the flip side of things, wow, it's a nightmare for coaches to get ready for McKinnon, Rantanen, McCarr.
They're
like
not
you
having
just
a
talked
fun
about.
time
Yeah,
prepping
I mean,
for that. Yeah.
You think David Quinn is looking forward to prepping for this game?
No, I.
Like he might. Like if you're David Quinn, how much work do you put into it? Obviously, like you prep for the game, but you're like,
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
I don't have the guys to stop
Yeah,
Nathan
yeah.
At a
MacKinnon.
certain
I'm gonna
point, you're like, well, McKinnon might just beat us.
I'm gonna put out the guys that I can to try and help it, but like I'm not gonna lose a whole lot of sleep over this because this is like you're just so badly outgunned at that point that and it's an NHL game.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, but yeah,
Of course.
It
oh
is,
my God. You got to respect your opponent, right? It's
of
the
course.
NHL, yeah. And the Avs will. But sometimes
I'm
you got
just saying,
bounces.
if you're
doesn't go
the
your
like the
way,
head coach approach will be different, I think.
Oh, 100%.
Because I think Jared Bednar will be like, "This is what we're hunting,"
Yeah.
and
We're gonna
David
abuse
Quinn's like,
this.
"What does any of this matter?
It's like people
This is
when they
going to
say-
be a problem."
I'm hunting, not getting blown out in this.
or teams that are saying we're going to stop McDavid. Like you're not going to stop McDavid. I mean, at the end of the day, you know what? He's going to blow by everyone because
Yeah.
he is so fast, and he's going to get his chances. You just got to hope that it hits the post, it goes wide, or your goalie makes saves because he's going to get his chances.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
Yep. You can only stop them so much.
No, I saw both of our phones just did the exact same thing.
We got a meeting to get to.
What is it?
Anyway, as we are kind of winding down this show, when you look at the Avs start to the season, is it important for them to really go 3-0 even on this road trip? Do they really need to
No.
start that hot, or is it if they lose one of these, is it fine?
I mean, they win the division on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
You know, and like pick which one of the points that you think mattered that they might have snuck out.
Of course,
into a
every
game or
point
whatever.
matters, but
But like is it like the end of the world if they go 1-2 on this road trip? No.
doesn't feel good.
But just given how it started, we always talk about, hey, you take this one day at a time. You try and build a successful road trip.
Yep.
They're at 1-0 here. They've got a very, very good chance to go 2-0 on it in San Jose on Saturday night. And if you walk out of this road trip at 2-1, it doesn't matter which two. It was a success.
agree.
And at 1-2, it would be a failure. At 1-1-1, it would be complicated.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like vital, but boy, they've put themselves in position to have a pretty good road trip here.
And I'll talk like a coach. Like all they care about is the tendencies, the habits, and it's don't worry about the outcome, worry about the process, which is true because in the NHL we all know that you can play an outstanding game and one day lose 1-0. I mean, I think it's how you play.
Yeah.
It's all situational, and I think if they go and they get those habits early in the season right, especially with the new guys, this is what we expect. There's a couple shifts yesterday. I'll use Jonathan Shakespeare. I thought he meshed well with Nathan, but there's a couple chances in his own end where he lacked a couple things and maybe he was a little sloppy. And they'll look at that shift, say, hey, this is what we fix. We're not worried about the other side because you're very creative and you're very Shakespeare-like you say it. But I think that's why it's important to put the stakes on the ground the right way at the start of the year. You know what I mean? And I think that's what championships teams are looking for. And we're using San Jose because it is the Sharks Saturday.
Yeah.
And we're not saying it's a gimme. That's not what we're saying. But it's a different way of attacking a season than the Avalanche, right? These guys are let's make sure that we show people that we have that they respect us. Where the Avs are, we don't win the cup. It's a bad year.
Yep.
Totally different mindset, right?
And you look at, for a season starting road trip, this is about as easy as it gets, right? 2 days off between games.
Yeah.
Going from LA to San Jose is not a
I believe
big
they're still in
travel
LA
time,
right now. Like I think that they're spending
that
the
plane
day.
is a 30-minute plane ride to San Jose.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
Get a little seafood in you, restaurants, get together. It's
Even
awesome.
the plane up to Seattle after is not that bad of a flight. You're already in the Western time zone.
An easy one.
Yeah, you spend a week in the Pacific time zone is nice.
Right.
It's weird they don't play Anaheim though. It's usually like LA, Anaheim, and
In a back-to-back, no less.
Usually.
Yep.
Right?
They usually do hit both
It
teams.
is weird that they're not doing this traditional SoCal swing.
When they go in the East too, and coming up here, they do the Highland. They don't do the old tour of
Yeah.
Jersey Rangers.
It's just they go to
I think they
Carolina,
go
right?
Something like that.
It's
one
like
of those.
Carolina, the Islanders, and then I
Yeah.
think the Sabres.
Yeah.
Where it's
Something like that. Yeah.
Little weird,
like
but
hopping around. Yeah, it's odd.
certainly those West Coast trips are easier than the East Coast trips. That's for sure. So, we'll see how the rest of the trip plays out, and then they get to come home for Chicago, which is one I'm sure they have circled on their calendars for a show to put on at home. But
Eustace on it in Saturday?
I know you guys want it. I'm down with it.
I would.
It's the game that makes the most sense for him to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would, not because you're taking it easy because it's San Jose. I would because you haven't played a real NHL game in months. Forget about the preseason games. And he doesn't have that much experience. And then for me, he plays well, doesn't matter. He plays bad, doesn't matter. You get in there, you want to do well, obviously. But then maybe the rest of the road trip, he goes down to the Eagles, and because now they have Prospetov, and and then he goes and gets some action down there. I mean, I like Eustace. I think he's I think he's going to show people that he can be a valid, not a valid, but a nice
bring that schedule
guy
back
for
up, because if you're not going to play Eustace against San Jose, like, when are you going to play him? Is kind of my point.
Yeah, and the Avalanche could get to the same basic result here. You play Georgiev on Saturday, and then you immediately send him down.
Yeah.
He goes and plays for the Eagles, and then when he comes back up, but you have these are the games that you play backups in.
And if you're not going to play him against San Jose, look at the schedule. There are no back-to-backs for the first month of the season, and most days they have 2 days off in between games.
Yeah.
Which, on one hand, Georgiev will be pretty fresh every single night. On the other hand, you guys were talking about it before the show. If you play Georgiev every night, you get to November 15th, and your backup has not played in a month.
And this is where it's like, hey, he's down playing with the Eagles, and then he comes back up. But if at any point, you need Prosvetov, he hasn't played any games, man. So it's, I don't know. It's kind of a they put themselves in kind of a weird position with these goalies right now. But again, the Bednar's very non-committal.
Maybe
answer.
it was all planned. I mean, there's got to be a master plan. Right?
Yeah, but
You know?
he was very non-committal about this is the roster we're coming home
It is.
from the road trip with.
Yeah.
Like, sure would like to add a defenseman to this
So
roster.
we've been talking about it. We've talked about it a couple times. I know you guys will talk about it with Megan tomorrow. Onanen probably plays Saturday, Onanen probably goes down to the Eagles after Saturday's game. I don't want to say he probably plays Saturday.
Why
but
was he on the roster if he wasn't going to play? It's kinda-
exactly. But like, so Onanen goes back down. You do call up Caleb Jones at that point. You have your seventh defenseman. You start getting him into some practices. You start getting him acclimated, and then you start having that time, and you say, let's, we kind of want to get him into a game here. So, I think that's probably like the smart approach. Whether Onanen actually plays Saturday night, I would do it, but like, you sure feel good about your chances to win if Georgiev is in net.
Yep. Maybe feel pretty good anyway, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have to wrap this one up. We are brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery. Maybe have a Broncos country to quell the sadness of the football game tonight. I don't know. Give that a go with Breckenridge Brewery. You can find a flavor for you. They have dozens of flavors. You can find them at your local liquor store. Use the Breck Beer Locator online at breckbrew.com. And then go check out FOCO to get your sports apparel and merch. They have tons of bobbleheads, tons of other cool stuff like pins or Crocs or other materials that you can wear on your body. When you use code DNVR over at FOCO, you get 10% off your order, whatever it might be. They need to make a Bednar bobblehead. That's where I'm at with it. Give me a Bedsy bobblehead. Or you can, take bobbleheads and put curses on people or something. I don't know. Perform magic. Use them as voodoo dolls. Do whatever you want. FOCO.com. Use the DNVR code to get that 10% off. And then we have one super chat here from Cheyenne who says, rarely get to catch you guys live, but I get to today. I'm excited for what the guys will be able to do this season. Sending love from Montana. Hell yeah.
Love from us.
Let's go.
Love it.
The Avs region is pretty big all the way up there to Montana.
Yeah.
But you chose the right team in the Avs and not that Minnesota team to your east. So good job. Proud of you. Anyway, that's all I got. Anything else you guys want to add before we go get out of here? No?
I think so.
All right. We appreciate all y'all hanging out with us today. Give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube if you feel like it. That does help us out a lot. We will be back tomorrow, another 2 p.m. pod, so tune into that. I'm sure we'll be talking more about this upcoming Sharks game, as well as, maybe a top 5 list of something Avalanche related. We'll see. But we appreciate you, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.